Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cosmic Portal. Today, we want to discuss Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus. So, the last time they had the circus, it was what 2017,
hmm
and now they've come up with a new idea, and they're back touring across the country with their new act. So we actually got a chance to see that this past weekend, and I know they're going to be heading to Norfolk at the Scope this upcoming weekend. So I wanted to give you a little bit of what we saw and let you know how we enjoyed it. So I'll let my wife go first, and then I will tell you exactly what we have talk about.
When I first heard that the circus was coming back, I was actually really excited to go and see it. Um, Growing up and taking my kids, I've always did it when they came into town. I took my brother, and once I had kids of my own, we went every year just like clockwork. Um, it was missing a few things. I have to admit some of my favorite shows that I like seeing during the circus. Now you know that there was no animals, which I already knew. Now when I went to get the tickets and we went to the Hampton Coliseum, um, the ticket lady immediately said there's no animals. I was fine with that because that's not the only reason why I'm going to see the circus. Um, but they were definitely noticeable. You know, in the past, when I think of the circus, I just remember seeing the elephants, the dog show, um, the lions. So they were definitely missed. Another thing that I have to say that I missed about the old circus compared to this one, they didn't really have any clowns, so to speak. They had, probably about five, six people, two or three main ones, and they just had, pants on, the ringly shirts, and did their little thing. But what was missing was, the clowns getting inside the car, and like 20 clowns come out, and that was a little odd because I'm just got used to seeing the clowns. Now, don't want to pick up my brother, but he was scared of the clowns. So if he would have been able to see it with us, he'd probably been a little bit happy. Another item, at least for me, that I missed, and it was where the motorcycles was inside the ball, and they just went in around in circles, and you just heard the zoom, zoom, zoom of the motorcycles. I can't remember where it happened or when it happened, but from what I also remember, gas actually escaped out of one of the motorcycles back then. So I think a few people got hurt, and that was totally gone from this circus here. It was probably about 2 hours. They did do an intermission. And I've also noticed it wasn't full. We went a Sunday night. We went to the 5 o'clock show, and there was a lot of empty seats. And for me that really likes watching the circus go every time they were coming to town, it was definitely noticeable along with the animals and that one show that I like that it was a lot smaller.
Yeah, I have to agree. Instead of doing the animal part, they had a animatronic dog that did parts of what they were. They it performed tricks and stuff like that. So that was one thing that was different. They didn't have three rings anymore. They just had one main ring, but they had three different sections. So this is where we were sitting with the one section, and these were just the acrobats. They were jumping and doing their type of flips and everything. They did bring back some of the old stuff. Now, as my wife said, she was going to the circus every year. I had kind of given up on it, way before it had stopped. Although I still enjoyed it, but I did have to make a point to go see this. So, wanted to show people some of the pictures that we took. So, like I said, this was the acrobats that was there. Um, these were some of the other acrobats. They were doing their flips. And like I said, they didn't really have three rings. This is the main ring where they showed most of the stuff that was going on. So this act was very good. When I think about it, I always think, it's kind of sad when you think that the circus was gone because these people have trained pretty much their entire lives to do these niche things. And where else are you going to perform it if there's no circus coming around where people can see it? I know they have Cirque du Soleil, stuff like that, but that doesn't tour as much as Ringling Brothers used to tour. And that was one thing I kind of missed, and I wish, I was glad it came back. Um, I miss, and I'm going to say the dogs the most because I know everybody was talking about, PETA was out there complaining about it. But you got to think those dogs that they showed in the show were all rescue animals. And now that they're not using them, those those animals are now still in shelters and not being saved. So that's one thing that people didn't think about. All they kept saying was you don't want to use the animals, but these people rescued these animals to do these type of things. Now, yeah, the elephants, the horses, the tigers, that's a different story, but you can at least bring the dogs back because that helps with the actual the dogs being in shelters. So, when you look at all of the performances, as you can see, there's sections of the stage that didn't have people seated in them. They didn't have anything around the sides at all. So they only did seating up to two or three different levels. And, it's cool to see. These were the other side, but again, there was only the one main ring. But we did have a lot of acrobats. Then we had aerialists, so that was pretty cool to see because you don't get to see that too often. And it even every time somebody performed, it lets you know what country they were from. And I thought that was great to see how many people get to work from other countries by coming to the circus. So I definitely suggest that if you have an opportunity to go when they come, to Norfolk this coming weekend, by all means, go out there and support them because if you don't, they may stop touring here and just go to the places where people are going to see them. So this was like right in front of where we're seated at. These were like my wife said, these were the only three clowns that they had throughout the circus. So they're not in makeup, which was the part that is a little bit different. But they did a great job performing. It's just that you expected to see more people. There was no pie in the face, none of that stuff. No, they did do slapstick, which was what they're known for, but nothing real like a whole bunch of them out there doing anything together. So, uh, what did you think about most of the acts that they had?
I thought all the acts were really, really good. I mean, I don't have any issue with any of them. It is just to the point from, what I remember from, 8 years ago, I can just definitely see where at the end of the circus, there was all these people was out, and there was people here, here, and here, and they walked around. It was just noticeably empty, you know. But still, amazing people. I can't do any of these items at all, and it's just sad that these people, like Mark was saying, that from other countries. I think there was somebody from Ukraine. Um, there was somebody from Argentina,
Cuba.
Cuba, Canada. These are people that came in. She was interesting being
Female ring announcer.
yeah, female ring announcer. So that was actually nice to see. And she got on stage and did her little dance. But
And she sang throughout the whole
the
show,
whole
which
show, Tina Turner songs.
yeah, Tina Turner, she did a great job. And like I said, I mean, you can look this part. I actually like the little rings where the
Hmm.
people are inside the ball, so that was nice to see again. But looking at the audience, this was on the opposite side from where we were. There were still quite a few people, but this was great to see again. So I'm glad that they got to perform that again. So, and then you can see what else was going on. I love these, you know, with the people flying and jumping through those hoops. I know Cirque du Soleil does that, and I think you can actually see this performed on cruise ships now. So, you know, besides that, there was no place that you could really see this done except for at the circus. So that's great that that came back. Again, they will be at Norfolk this coming weekend. Um, you know, and here we are in our seat, so we got a chance to do that. So, I did want to show this was the concession stand. They only had two open, but they had quite a bit of wares, a lot of stuff out there. We didn't actually buy anything. I did notice a lot of kids were buying the swords and stuff like that because they had bubbles in it. You know, I did kind of want that, but that would have been the only thing that I was interested in. So yeah, the food wasn't too bad pricing wise. Most expensive thing was $8, and you know they give you a 32-ounce drink. That was $7 or $6. So not bad when it comes to that. And this is circus prices, so yeah, this was a concession stand, so pricing wasn't bad. They were supporting a high school there, and those prices were a little bit different from the prices that you got at the concession stand. So, and here we go with the swing people, which I did kind of miss when they did do that. You know, being a kid, I remembered seeing that when I was young, and I always thought that was the neatest thing. But that was cool to see. And then we had drummers. Plus, they performed with these were from Brazil, and they did a drum beat while dancing, and then they did like a dance with these ropes that hit the ground and made noise once they finished that. So that was awesome to see as well. What do you think about those people?
Like I said, I really have no complaints at all about any of the performers. I mean, I'm glad that we went to see it. Our tickets, it was the five of us, and I think we paid just a little bit over $100. You know, I bought the tickets actually at Hampton Coliseum. You know, so we missed out, or not really missed out, but we didn't have to pay as many fees as if you was going to do it on Ticketmaster. So if you decide to go to Scope, definitely go to Scope and get your tickets there versus the Ticketmaster because you're going to save a couple of dollars. I know I saw on Facebook that a few people were complaining. Oh, online said it was only, you know, $25, and and I ended up spending, 65 for two tickets. I paid 105 for five tickets. So obviously these people paid the fees by doing Ticketmaster. So just go there. You don't have to pay for parking. At least I know we didn't at the Coliseum to get our tickets. I went in, I was, in and out within a couple of minutes, got our tickets and left.
Yeah, absolutely. And like we said earlier, there were no animals. This was the only animal there, and it was a robotic dog that danced. So that for me was a little disappointing. But other than that, I remember before you could go to the circus a little bit early. You get to see the actual performers. You get to talk with them and sign autographs and stuff like that. They didn't do that this time, which was somewhat disappointing. But they still put on a great show. And I probably, well, I'd say I will probably see it again next year. just so that want to support them so that they will continue to come back, and hopefully others will do the same. Do you have anything that you want to say in closing?
Not really. Just definitely go and see it. I know right after they stopped doing the circus in 2017. I went to the movies later on that year and saw The Greatest Showman. Now that's musical, and but they just showed a little history on Ringling Brothers. And I remember, you know, going to the movies, seeing that, and I actually had a tear in my eye just because, hey, this is something that we didn't know at the time was going to be back now. But I remember thinking, we're not going to ever see a circus again. Something that my parents took to me as a child. I took my kids as children. I took the kids as they were an adult. And I was really, really sad to find out that me watching that movie was it. It just brought back some memories. And I'm gonna say The Greatest Showman is a really good movie, even though it's a musical. So watch it.
Okay. Well, in closing, I just want to say the circus was pretty good. We had a great time. We had a few snacks. We enjoyed ourselves. Everybody clapped. They applauded. I definitely will try to take, the time to go again next year to see it again. By all means, please support the circus. It is a dying art that we still need for it to come back. Hopefully, they will be able to bring some other aspects of the circus back the next time they come. And, as I said, it's just something that these people are from other countries that need that support. And if you can do so, just go out and take a look at it. So I do want to say thank you for joining us here at the Cosmic Portal. My wife and I enjoy seeing this, and we try to bring different things to everybody. And we do appreciate your support. Until next time, everybody.